With the balance patch changes getting announced, we can take a look at the selector tier lists and what changes are going to happen. This patch isn't hitting for another month, so most of this is predictive, though the impact of some of these changes seem obvious enough. First up, the biggest winner of the patch is Mort. Mort is going straight into S tier. There's a lot of testing that needs to be done in 1 month when this comes out, with his builds and his overall strengths, but his S2 negating counterattacks is already insanely strong. He's one of those units that just deletes a game mechanic by existing, so he's going to have a lot of value against counter-based teams. I'm not sure whether he's going to end up as a bruiser or if that's too stat heavy and he just ends up as a fast cycling tank. So he might be a plus 15 or a plus 11 unit, but he should be a solid choice for the fully deck selector. I'm also going to move Ravi down a little bit. This might be a bit of an overreaction, but Mort is kind of taking her main role of fighting Candy, though Ravi does well into Laya, while Mort still doesn't really do anything into her, since he's going to have less HP than her, and her S2 is going to be able to cleanse the fear. But I'm just going to put Ravi here for now. This is the border anyways, so it doesn't really matter. And then Elena is going to be super good up after the buffs. Her S2 is gaining a cleanse before the CR push, which means that she'll be able to cleanse Stigma from Ran S3, and also the Restrict from Peira S3. So this hits 2 Premier Openers super hard. You can use either Doctor's Bag to cleanse the second debuff as well, or you could use Exif or Magahara's Tome to get more CR push after using S2. She's also going to do pretty well into Harsetti, I think. She won't gain any CR from her S2, but with Doctor's Bag, her S2 is going to be able to instantly cleanse the counter block and unbuffable. Harsetti S3 still won't be counterable due to the proc order. Even if you proc a counter attack and then Elena cleanses, the counter still won't go off. But this does remove the 2 main debuffs from her S3, and if you add an A Tywin, you could also cover the Abyssal Crown or Magic Bubble Maker stun as well. This also means I'm moving Ran+Peira down a bit. It's a bit hard to say where they'll end up. I think they'll still be usable, just maybe you can't pick them as early anymore. It's just not going to be as easy to force them now that they have a proper counter, who's going to be pretty easy to get since she's in RGB. Next up is Sez. I think Sez is going to be pretty good. Him getting to self-bridge himself makes him pretty good follow-up, and his S3 does a ton of damage. And he also can use the new basket for attack buff without anyone else giving it to him, plus a chance at greater attack buff. And his AoE extra damage proc is a pretty good niche. The other extra damage cleavers are like Fumir and I guess Ezra or Urza, whatever his name is, who both require a ton of setup. But Sez you can probably plug and play a bit more. I'm going to put him in this tier for now because I'm not sure where he's going to end up. I'm guessing he's going to end up in B. But we'll just leave him here for now because it's a bit hard to tell. And then Alencia will also move up because she's a really solid non-ML5 injury option, but nothing too special, so we're just going to keep her here. And then Yulha is maybe going to be good. The main thing is her S3 getting the extra damage soul burn is really nice. She's been needing this for a while because part of her issue was that, yeah, you would proc S2 and then your S3 wouldn't actually kill anything and you wouldn't get the heal. But now her S3 does more damage, so she'll be able to kill more things and heal and tank more. And her S2 getting the more reflect just makes her a bit more of a nuisance to deal with when you're hitting into her. So we're going to put her here. I think something like a base speed, high HP Proset Yulha could be usable, but a little bit hard to say. And then there is Melissa. Melissa, where is she? Melissa's getting buffed, so I will move her here above Chloe because this isn't really doing anything for her. She's still going to be pretty mediocre, I think. Well, I think the buffs are good for her. I think she has bigger problems that the buffs don't fully cover. Now we can take a look at the artifacts. RNL got buffed, but extra turn got nerfed, which is more important, so I'm moving RNL down. This is also because Ran+Peira got hit a little bit by the Elena change, so this is going to be down here now. And then Spirit's Breath got obliterated by the nerf to A-Lots, because he was pretty much the only user of this, which I already said you shouldn't Selector this, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not sure. I'm also going to delete this here because it doesn't matter anymore. So this was already something that you probably shouldn't Selector, but I put it there because some people like doing the A-Lots thing. Now the A-Lots thing is dead, so this is just useless. And then aside from that, Doctor's Bag, I guess, I'm just going to leave here, but because it's already A tier and this is unordered. But Doctor's Bag was already a good option for BDOM, and now it's going to be a good option for Elena, who's getting a massive buff. So the prio on this goes up a little bit. And I was considering Mort artifact, but it's a little bit hard to tell what his best artifact is right now. Like, it could be Ancient Dragon's Legacy for the cycling, or it could be just Artis if you're using him as a fast tank. But Artis and also Victorious Flag being good free-to-play options for both Bruiser and Tank Mort means that I'm not going to touch anything else for his artifacts. I've also updated the Mola Costs spreadsheet for the Hero Selector with the new units that are going to be probably usable, which is just Mort, Says, and Yulha, and I also moved the units around so it matches the order of the tier list. And that's it for the balance patch. This should be a fun one with so many changes. We have 2 hero selectors, 3 fully deck selectors, and 1 artifact selector remaining. So you can see if you want to pick up any of the buff stuff or if some of the nerfs made you change your mind on what you were going to take.